Sproglet had a health visitor out this morning. He needs to get into the doctor's urgently today. Tried ringing him this morning. They couldn't do an urgent appointment for today this morning unless we could come this morning. So I was told to ring back at lunchtime. This is already the third time I've tried to get through to our doctors. Bearing in mind...
Good afternoon, appointments. Can I help you?
Oh, hi, can I rang this morning. Can I add my stepson to the emergency list for this afternoon, please?
Yeah, just bear with me.
They were actually more helpful than I was expecting them to be. The person I spoke to this morning was really unhelpful. Hopefully, what she's just said actually is what happens, and we can go in at 5, let them know that we need to be prioritised and we won't have to sit around for an hour and a half's wait like we have the last 4 or 5 times we've been to the doctors. But don't worry, I'll keep you informed of how it goes. Well, that was one of the more successful trips to the doctors we've ever had with him. It took a letter from his social worker, a letter from CAMS, a letter from the health visitor that his school have sent out, and me asking on 2 different phone calls and in person when we got there. But they finally put a flag on his account to tell the receptionists that he's autistic. So when we phone up and say we can't do the come and sit and wait for 2 hours thing, they actually believe us. It's finally on there. I watched them put it on. So rather than turning up at 4 o'clock and sitting and waiting, we were able to turn up at 5 o'clock. We waited only 21 minutes rather than 2 hours, and he's left with some medication. It's nothing major. He's got remember the spot thing that he had in his face a few weeks ago, that because he keeps picking at it turned into impetigo. Exactly the same thing has happened again, although hopefully we've caught it a little bit earlier. So it's on both cheeks and down one side of his body and onto his leg, because he just picks at them. There's no telling him not to pick at them. So hopefully, because we've got the cream a little bit earlier, we've managed to nip it in the bud, because when it happened last time we had to cancel his residential respite thing because it was really bad and infectious. He's supposed to be there again on Monday and Tuesday night next week, and I hope it doesn't wreck that, because if he's at home Monday and Tuesday next week, then all my plans that I outlined yesterday for sorting the garage go out the window, because Anna won't be able to come out and help me because she'll be in the house with him, and most of the stuff that's left in there now that's not my recording gear is stuff from her old flat from when she moved in 5 years ago, where we just sort of dumped it all in the garage and haven't touched it since. But I'm not allowed to just go in and throw it away, because apparently some of it might not need throwing away. So she really needs to be involved in that process. If it can't happen then, the next time he's on one of those residential things is not until late May, I think. Possibly even early June. So I know we've had 2 quite close together this time, but I know there's a bit of a gap after this one, so it really needs to be now, or it's a bit of a problem. We're at the church, in case you were wondering. This was his reward for going to the doctors. Trip to the church. Just one though. We're finally training him into just one church. Right, as I don't know which camera I'm not editing that together. Let's assume we're using this camera. 60 days left at work! And just for good luck, 60 days left at work! That is awesome. The reason I'm waving 2 cameras around is because I finally sorted out a charger for the new one. Just got an adapter off of Amazon. So my new vlogging camera is up and running. The Canon 80D with the fancy Rode microphone on top, which hopefully will improve the audio a little bit. And I've moved it over onto the trusty Gorilla Pod. So hopefully it's going to make a difference. If we put that back down, we'll do a little bit of a check so that you can see the differences between the 2. So we're going to move back and forth between the 2 cameras. So this camera, this is my existing Canon G7X Powershot Mark II thing. Both the sound and the video coming off of that camera. That's the little foldy one that can fit in my pocket. This one is the new camera, the Canon 80D, with the Rode Video Mic Pro microphone on top of it. So hopefully you'll notice that the that the picture is a lot clearer. Hopefully the audio coming through the microphone is a lot better as well. The big thing though that should be significantly different is the improved autofocus on this camera. So if we switch back to the other camera for a second, and if I go zooming in and out of this one, hopefully I come out of focus, dip back into focus again. So that was on the G7X. If we do the same thing on the 80D, in theory, it should be following me in and out and just auto-focusing on me as I go. And that is the biggest workout my abs have had in many a long year. So that is going to be the last time for a little while I talk about cameras, hopefully, because I realise a lot of you aren't here for cameras and the whole topic of them might be quite boring. But fingers crossed, we've now got everything that we're supposed to have set up. I'm going to turn that one off because it's very distracting having two cameras pointing at me. So that one, in fact I can't turn it off because it'll mess up the auto sync. Maybe. Don't really know how that works yet. The one other significant piece of news is that the final piece of the puzzle arrives tomorrow. I've had the confirmation from Apple that my new MacBook Pro is going to arrive tomorrow. Perfect timing, other than the fact that it's a parents' evening at school tomorrow, so I'm not going to get it set up tomorrow. It also means that, as is tradition, on parents' evenings, tomorrow's episode is going to be a Q&A, so get your Qs down in the comments to this video and I'll endeavour to answer as many of them as I possibly can. But the MacBook Pro should be set up in a couple of days. And it's all tying together, as we've talked about yesterday, to get us towards that episode 100 of season 1 of the vlog, where everything should be set up then by, I think, did we say season 1 ends, or episode 100 happens Wednesday or Thursday next week? I can't remember which one it was now. But the important thing is that at that point I'm going to have all the kit that I could possibly need, hopefully, as long as I don't break any of it. I'll have sorted out the garage, the utility room, the whole recording space, so everything is set up perfectly the way I want it to be. I'm going to have the TV set up with the PS4 and the Elgato plugged into that, and should have a setup by this time next week. Really, it's Tuesday night as I record this, so in theory over the next 7 days I'll get to the point where I can really up my output, so I can have my vlog every day as it is now, hopefully better because of the new kit that we've got working on it, get that edited on the MacBook Pro, rendered on the MacBook Pro, and completely separate the vlog from the gaming channel production, because that means that while the vlog is rendering on one machine, I can be playing Football Manager or editing a Football Manager video on my laptop, or I could be playing Persona 5 or Mass Effect Andromeda or something else on the PS4 whilst capturing it on the Elgato and recording that straight onto that machine, and then while that one's being edited with the gaming and it's doing its rendering, I could be editing something else on the MacBook. I think it's going to massively up production. I have a potentially crazy ambition at this stage that I would like to establish a routine where I can produce 3 videos a day whilst still being at work. I don't know if that will be every day, but I think I can do a vlog, a Football Manager video, plus another gaming video every week. I've been toying with the idea of whether to do the second gaming video or go back to streaming, but if I do streaming it has to be on YouTube because I can't do Twitch until I leave work. So I think we probably save streaming for the summer when I can make my glorious return to Twitch and just try and introduce other gaming content to the portfolio. And my theory is, if I can establish now 3 videos a day, find the right workflows to make that realistic, once I am able to do this full time, I could either continue with 3 videos a day plus a stream plus some writing, or I could increase the output of videos, or I've got so much flexibility to get things working the way I want it to work, but it all relies on getting that initial workflow set up, which is what the job for the next 60 days is going to be. There is a reason I wrote this on the card. 60 days from now, I mean, it is 60 work days, so if you actually look at how many days it is in real world, because teachers have so much time off and all the weekends and stuff, it's actually about 110 actual real world days, so almost double what I'm actually going to be spending at work. And that time is important because I'm going to need it to get things set up and get everything in place, because by the time that 60-day countdown hits and we're hitting episode 200 of the vlog, which is my first day of doing all this full time, I need to have written at least one more book, hopefully the YouTube one. I'm really going to try and crack on with that next week because I need that extra income. I need to have established a better routine for introducing more gaming content. I need to be ready to start streaming again, and I need a plan for what I'm going to do with Patreon, because at the moment I am quite happy to admit there's a whole load of people doing Patreon better than I am. And I don't mean they're just making more money than I am, because there's people who are perhaps making less money who are still doing it better than me. My rewards are rubbish, my levels are rubbish, my engagement with it is rubbish. I'm so grateful for the people who, despite all of that, have got involved anyway, but I'm going to figure out a way to make that better. And the best way to do that, if you are an existing patron over at patreon.com/Illujo, let me know either in the comments of this video or using the chat feature on Patreon or sending me a message on Twitter, whatever it is, how we can make Patreon better. Because I look at some other creators, Loki Doki is a perfect example. If you don't follow the Football Manager scene, you might not know who he is, but assuming most of you are here from Football Manager, Loki Doki is awesome. Very similar subscriber level to me. He's just hit 12,000 subscribers, I think, but I got to 10,000 first, and I'll always be proud of that because I'll never catch him up again now. But he does Patreon brilliantly. I don't just want to copy his model, but he has done it brilliantly to the point where he's bringing in enough money from that Patreon. If I was making on my Patreon what he makes on his Patreon, I would feel a lot less pressure about forcing myself to increase my video output and write a book while still working. It would just ease everything off a little bit, and it could perhaps say, okay, Kev, calm down, write the book or increase your output. Just do one and worry about the rest when we get to July, because then you're going to have all that extra time to do it. But as it is, it's not quite there, and I would love to figure out how to do Patreon well so it works for me and helps make me doing this full time that bit more realistic, but also works for you lot and that you feel that you're getting something worthwhile out of it, because otherwise it's just you giving me cash, which although would be great for me, probably doesn't work out quite so well for you. So that's the plan for the next 60 days. I hope the new camera is good. On the off chance it's rubbish, then you lot on this camera have just had a really weird camera angle for 5 minutes, and I apologise. I'll either fix that camera for tomorrow, or I don't know, we'll figure something out. So hopefully that video has been worth your while. If you have enjoyed it, please pop a like on there for me. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more, and thank you very much for watching. And before you hit stop, Kev, calm down, don't forget questions for the Q&A in the comments of this video. Q&A tomorrow, because parents' evening days mean very little opportunity for vlogging. Thanks for watching.